And so we're going to start with the what and the why. This online experience presents the opportunity to learn about some of these portals into our past. We will visit buildings and locations across the US that are preserving the Black experience and telling our stories in a unique way. Why is this important? Because we can never fully understand the fruit of a tree if we're not willing to learn about the root of a tree. The artifacts, the stories, the images are the roots, and today we're going to learn about where some of these roots are planted. And so, with that being said, I want you to think about this analogy. Right now, off to the right, we have this image of a tree. If we think of a tree as life's experiences or just life itself, the roots, we're going to compare that to the history. The fruit of a tree, we're going to compare that to everyday situations, conditions that we see right in front of us today. Now, the roots of a tree, just like our history, are planted. They're beneath the surface sometimes. You can't visibly see them, but they're there. And if you do want to uncover them, it may take a little digging. And that's similar to our history. And so the fruit are the bountiful, colorful things that we see right in front of us. But there's a saying that goes, the root is within the fruit. So tell me, what part of the fruit do you think contains the root? Let me know in the chat what you think. What part of the fruit contains the root of a tree or the possibility for the root? Let me know in the chat. What are your thoughts on that? And so the next location that we'll be visiting is America's Black Holocaust Museum, and this is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So let's go ahead and take a watch.
The death of a star recalibrates our gravity, infuses energy, sets into motion celestial winds of change. We mourn the loss and reclaim the sun. Once a star becomes a sun, we breathe galactic. We take in the same molecules and sky fragments of greatness. We assemble ourselves around a truth, blazing like a beacon.
Want to take a little time to highlight Dr. James Cameron's story. Um, and what was mentioned in the video is that he's one of the only known survivors of a lynching. And so this image here on the right is very popular, very famous image. Many people have seen it, but may not know the story behind it. This lynching took place in Marion, Indiana in 1930. James Cameron and two other young men were arrested and accused of rape, robbery, and murder. You can see here in this photo 19-year-old Abram Smith and 18-year-old Thomas Shipp hanging from a tree. James Cameron was actually the third individual who was hanging from the tree as well. However, miraculously, he was rescued and brought down from the tree, and he survived. 17. The Schomburg Center for Research in Black Culture is one of the world's leading cultural institutions devoted to research, preservation, and exhibition of materials focused on African American and African diaspora and African experiences. Established with the collections of Arturo Alfonso Schomburg 95 years ago, the Schomburg has collected, preserved, and provided access to materials documenting Black life in America and worldwide. By then, he had established an extensive and prosperous trading settlement in what later became the city of Chicago. So very, very interesting. Live John Baptiste Point de Sable. He was from Haiti. His mother was an African woman. His father was a Frenchman. Because of this, he was able to travel the world with his father, who was a seaman. And so when he came here to North America, it is said that he had a really good rapport with the Native Americans. And this is what allowed him to establish this trading post that would then become Chicago, Illinois. We're going to stop the screen share, and we will definitely continue our dialogue and our conversation. So let me stop the screen share. We'll come back. We're going to go back and try to monitor the chat as best we can and see what you all have to say. Okay, so I see going back. Thank you so much for the tour. I had only really heard about two of these museums before this evening. Thank you for this gathering. Absolutely, our pleasure. A very powerful presentation. I learned a lot and forces places to visit. Absolutely.
Yes.
Wow, this was phenomenal. And I'm so glad that I joined tonight with my grandchildren.
Mm.
Absolutely. I will
Mhm.
visit all of these in person. Beautiful. That's the
Beautiful.
goal. A tremendous presentation. Thank you. Indeed.
Mhm.
Let's see. Thank you for a phenomenal experience this evening. Absolutely.
Mhm.
Excellent presentation. This is my second time watching the virtual presentation. You do not disappoint. I have enjoyed your tour of the museums nationwide. Excellent. Absolutely. And I see here in the chat, thank you for sharing all this information. They're not teaching Black history in schools that often. That is why I have my grandchildren watch with me tonight. Excellent. And we do appreciate that. Thanks for our vision. Absolutely. We are an amazing people and we have accomplished so much. And it is beautiful to see that there's so many institutions all across the US dedicated to the achievements of Black people here in America.
Yes.